So I'll remember the story for arguably the rest of my life. So I remember it was late at night, don't even know the hour, but I would imagine like 11 o'clock at night, and I go to sleep at like 7:30, bro. But my parents started an argument and I still live with them. So my sister and I were like called to like mediate the argument. And as I'm standing there, I'm sitting there like, I'll be like, yeah, called to be the mediator and like kind of draw peace, which is good. But who am I to judge either one of my parents? So I'm sitting there analyzing the situation as I normally do. I'm a like very analytical person. Say, okay, my mom did this, my dad did this. Who's in the wrong? And I'm sitting there like, what gives me the right? I'm not sinless. And as Jesus said quite literally, and this is the quote that came to mind, let he who is sinless cast the first stone. So then I just got this like view of Jesus in my heart. I can't put it any other way. And I went to both my parents, and I'm like, the thing is, none of us can actually judge what's actually happening here. We all have different views, and that's normal. We are going to have different views at times. But the reality is, I can't say you're right and you're wrong. I don't have the right to that, and neither do you say, no, you're right and you're wrong. People involved in the arguments. None of us are sinless. So what are we actually doing by having this argument? And they were still like a bit fiery and worked up and all that. But it's almost like in that moment, even like the presence of Jesus spoke to them. I'll probably sound a bit woo-woo to some of you, but I'm just going to be open with you. So that's just like a story that came to mind, and I think it was like of particular importance because I was like fast asleep, and I know I've always had in my life at least where when I like half asleep sort of thing, I get more of these like visions and insights than what I normally do. I'm not sure if you can relate to that though. So that's just like one aspect of it, but just in like day-to-day life, I spoke about in a video a while ago where I am like not necessarily an overthinker, but an overplanner. So I would have like a tree diagram, so in other words, option one, option two. If one of these options, like if this option happens, then like I have another two backups for this option, and so it carries on and forms like this tree. And yeah, I think it's good to plan. But in me becoming more religious and basically just seeking out Christ more, a lot of that like stress has been taken away. And through that, I've actually had a much clearer view. So on face value, and I have the same thinking, but you're probably thinking that you need to be planning because X, Y, and Z needs to happen. You want things to happen a particular way, and I still do think that is useful. You need to set your intention, have a view, go out and get it. 100% you need to do that. But you do also have to realize that there are some things you just can't like predict. And that is why you like making all these backups, because you recognize you can't predict everything. And that's where Christ comes in. Pray to him. And in praying to him, he is going to either A, reveal some insights that you couldn't see, or B, just help you on your journey. Because frankly, I found my life has gone much smoother ever since like I've started that. I pray before bed, and it's like almost sometimes as I'm dreaming, I don't actually normally remember my dreams, but sometimes like some insights come to my dreams. But oftentimes as I'm like drifting off to sleep, or first thing when I wake up in the morning, something that I've been like thinking about in my mind, suddenly I get the answer to. And might just be coincidence. Like I know if you read psychocybernetics, oftentimes your brain does work that way. Even Nikola Tesla speaks about the fact that he used to do like something, not prayer, but think about a problem before bed. So it might even be that, might have nothing to do with Christ. But I do think it is interesting to like still follow this tactic more or less. Now, beyond like all of this like physical world stuff and all of that, if you look into the man that Christ was, like if you don't believe he was God, fine. But if you look into the man Christ was, that was an honorable man and a virtuous man. A man I aspire to be. And if you know anything about the story of Christ, like Book of John, there's a movie on it. I suggest you watch that, but it's like a 3-hour movie though. But you would agree the virtues he had was extremely honorable. He was a man that, aside from being sinless, or just a great leader. And that's what you guys here on Masculinity are looking for, what I'm looking for. I'm looking to lead my family, lead this YouTube channel, lead my community one day, in fact. But in order for me to do that, I think it would be a good starting point. Not even I think, I'm pretty certain. To be more virtuous. Because you might get all the respect, all the status, and all the command over these people. But it means nothing if you're not leading them in a virtuous way. Because then you're just doing it like for yourself, for your ego. But how's it going to help anyone else? And that's the kind of thinking I'll be trying to get to on this YouTube channel, but also like in my day-to-day life. So it's been like a lot of pondering, a lot of reframing, and yeah, just a lot of things to think about. But what it means for you as like the man who's going to be leading the family one day. Look at it. Don't look at Christ directly if you like don't relate to him. But look at it. How can you be a more virtuous man? Lead with authority, but lead in a way that favors the higher good of not just yourself, but those around you. But if you believe in God, God as well. But with this said, bro, I'll see you in the next one to become a better man.